Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Valvoline and Sparesbox. Don't forget Benny 5 on checkout. This week, something different. We're going to conquer the four-wheel drive YouTube channel market. For those of you who have been following my socials, you may have noticed I've been fire selling a lot of stuff. Big announcement, I bought a four-wheel drive. It's chopped, it's got coil conversion, it's got portal hubs, it's got dual transfer cases, and it's been converted from diesel to petrol, so it's got a turbo 6-cylinder in it. Makes about 1,000 horsepower. Let's check it out. Psych! So this is what I've actually got. It's a 1995 Pajero Mini. Anyone who knows the channel knows I wouldn't have gone and bought a four-wheel drive like that. It's just not how we roll. This is something a little bit different, and I haven't really had a K four-wheel drive before. This thing is pretty cool because it does have a genuine transfer case, high and low range 2 and 4-wheel drive split control. It's already had a lift kit. It's already got some 16s with some all-terrain tyres on it, or muddy almost style tyres. Whoever's owned this in Japan's obviously loved it, done a lot of forward driving and off-road and adventure type stuff in it. There's enough Patagonia stickers in this thing to sink a battleship. So if you know anything about Patagonia stickers, we're gonna have a good old Patagonia sticker tour today. But this thing's pretty cool because to my knowledge, it's one of the only 4-cylinder 660 20 valve engines out there that are in a car. I think Mitsubishi also used the same basic powertrain in the Mitsubishi Minica Dangan. So yeah, pretty cool thing. Turbo petrol, four-cylinder, 660, 20 valve, manual, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, all of the drives. Now this thing's pretty cool. It's actually a north-south layout, so it has a completely divorced transmission and transfer case in it. So potentially could jam this thing in something else, a little buggy or whatnot, and still have a conventional 5-speed, but we're not gonna do any of that. This thing's pretty jam-packed actually. It's turbo intercooled, it's got aircon, it's got power steering, it's got plenty of room for us to add stuff later. We could potentially do a second battery, a snorkel, better air intake, bigger intercooler, all that sort of deal. The thing drives awesomely actually. It's got 150,000 Ks on it. We are going to do the usual BCW thing where we go front to back, do all the servicing. However, I have driven this one a little bit actually to kind of work out what's going on with it. I think it needs a wheel bearing. The tyres actually scrub at full lock. We do actually have some new tyres and we're going to go down to a 15-inch with a slightly smaller rolling diameter. So I think that'll fix a lot of our scrubbing issues. It'll definitely fix our scrubbing issue in the front because the offset of the wheels is different. I believe these wheels are actually from Mitsubishi Galant too. If you can confirm or deny that, please let me know in the comments because I can't be bothered to look it up and someone will tell me, or they're probably already yelling at me that they're Galant wheels by now. So I'll read it down below in the comments. But we'll keep wandering around. Yeah, there's plenty going on. It's yeah, it's pretty well appointed. It also has electric windows. It's got an aftermarket stereo, but because it's been imported from Japan pretty recently, it still doesn't have an Australian radio in it yet, so none of the radio works. It's all of your typical forward driving accessories. We've got a compass, we've got an altimeter, we've also got outside temp and a clock, so we know exactly where we're going and how hot it is and how high up the mountain we've gone. Got another Patagonia sticker, so that's I think about 17 in the car so far. One feature I really do like about this car, genuinely though, these floor mats are such a good idea. They've got a carpet insert, but if you want to go off-road, you can remove the carpet insert and just hose them out. So genuinely love that. It's such a good idea. Let's be real, there's not a lot going on in here. Pretty stoked though, the aircon works. I have put the standard steering wheel back on. It did come with a timber one. Generally when you purchase a car in Japan from the auctions, if it's got aftermarket parts on it, typically the auction house will make you supply the original parts as well. So although this had the aftermarket wheel already fitted, the standard wheel was actually just sitting in the back. So it was pretty cool to just put that back on because yeah, I don't think the timber grain wheel really suited the aesthetic of this thing. Let's have a look in the back. So we've got the entire illustrated history of Patagonia stickers. If you know anything about Patagonia stickers, this is obviously the quintessential collection. It's the best of series. It's not every single one, but all the best ones are there, so that's really all that matters. Moving into the back of the car, it's pretty well thought out actually. Got a little bit of storage area, nice little fold up false floor, and the back seats, which are probably my favorite feature. The back seats fold up and they fold flat, which is really cool. But the thing that I find quite impressive is you can actually change the angle. So they almost have a reclining feature. So it can be pretty cool if you're trying to actually lock stuff in the back here. There's about 7 positions I actually move around to. But yeah, you can also chuck plenty of stuff in because they fold flat. You probably could pull them out, but given the plastic trim and everything that's going on in here, I don't think you're actually going to save a lot of room. But yeah, it's pretty well set out. And a lot of thoughts obviously gone into this. Being a K car, you've obviously got to pack a lot of stuff into a pretty small space. And that brings us to the spare wheel, which is hanging off out the back. One thing I like though about this compared to other four-wheel drives is it's quite low on the window line. It's not really obscuring your vision at all. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Obviously, being that it's a K car, the wheel's not that big. I don't know how well that's going to help us off-road, because obviously having 3 of these larger wheels on one of those may become an issue. I may look at getting another 15-inch wheel to complete that set of 5 that I've got, so that we do have a full-size spare on it. Because yeah, if we end up doing this off-road trip we're talking about, that spare's not going to cut it off-road. It's got some roof racks on it. I'm not sure what's going to happen with those yet, because they're only rated to 30 kilos. So I don't know how much gear you can put up there, and I'm not sure if I actually want to have a lot of stuff hanging off the top. We may build another roof rack and some drag cables and stuff on it. But yeah, I don't know how far down the rabbit hole I'm going to go in forward driving yet. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool addition to the channel. And now we're going to go and take it for a drive. Yeah, made it. How good's the carnival mirror? Chair. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our little reveal of the Pajero behind me. I finally understand what forward driving is about. We've only really run up and down this fire trail a couple of times today and had a little bit of fun in it, but I genuinely understand it now. So yeah, stay tuned for more forward driving. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.